live here with Facebook Live, and then we're also going to be live over here on this camera. So we've got two cameras going at the same time. My name is John Wallace. I'm the president of the Satellite Beach Seahawks. I'm here with Coach Ted Kimmey with the Satellite High School Scorpions varsity head football coach extraordinaire, and we're gonna get things started real quick, and we're gonna introduce somebody who's got us all very excited. Coach Tucker is gonna jump in here without knocking anything over. Coach Tucker is here because this is it. We have officially made the decision. Coach has decided that he's going to accept the offer to be the head coach for the junior varsity Satellite High Scorpions. So that's a big deal. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it is a big deal. We have high hopes for all the players coming up. Great class. I can actually see it already. Coach Kimmey did a great job putting together a staff for the JV. A lot of knowledge, a lot of commitment right now. So I'm really excited about it. You know, I've already talked to all the young men, and they know expectations, accountability. That's definitely what we hold them to, and as well as learning the satellite program. But also, you know, we want to make sure we turn out some great young men in the community. Okay. Not just great football players, which I already know they're going to be great football players, because we definitely are got last couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing last couple of weeks.
Good. Have you already assembled a coaching staff, or are you still working on that?
Well, no, Coach Kimmey, like I said, he's assembled a great staff already for the JV as well, and they're just hitting it hard already. It just amazes me how much intellect we have, football knowledge as well, with the JV staff. So, okay. Yeah, that's going to be make my life a lot easier.
Oh yeah, having a staff underneath you that can help take care of all the X's and O's and all the things you got to do. So, because you're not only the head JV coach, but you're also taking care of our equipment as well.
Yes, I'm still the football operations director, along with Robert Seeley. Now, he's come into the program, basically just whatever we need, attitude, which is great. That's what we all are about, you know. It's about the program, not about us. But he's came in, taken over pretty much the equipment and handling it with no problem at all, and he's doing a great job.
Good deal. So, and you've got some other former Seahawks as coaches. Jim Gagan for offensive coordinator.
Yes, Jim is.
Mark Malkin.
Mark Malkin is the defensive coordinator.
Troy Palmer.
Troy Palmer is the line coach, O-line and D-line.
Okay. And so, any other, is that the...
No, that's about it for the JV staff. But, I mean, the way we work it here at Satellite, we're all a family. So all the coaches, we interact daily. And even during the game time, yes, they have their primary positions, but we have the other coaches helping out always. And matter of fact, we're working on some depth charts right now, but the other coaches, they're all conferring with each other to make sure, you know, we have the best players in the best positions, but also the players, you know, because JV is about developmental. So we want to develop, you know, good young men, football players, and community support. But with that, all the coaches, you know, it's like a family, right? It takes a village.
That's right. So. Good deal. Well, we're excited to see you take on this role. You know, you've got your history with the Seahawks. You coached the Seahawks for quite a few years, and you know, it's nice to see our former Seahawks moving up to the high school level and helping move these kids along in their path to their development, to either moving on in football or just moving on in life in general, and you know, making our community a better place. So I really appreciate it, and appreciate the work you're doing and the time you're putting in, because it's you know, it's a second, third, fourth job that you're picking up, and all the time and commitment you're putting in. So we, from a community standpoint, you know, we really appreciate what you're doing.
Well, yes, it's something that I've always wanted to do. It's what I love doing, you know. And again, being here with this program, it's my 5th year. Before that, yes, like I said, I was with the Seahawks. And I've told the young men just recently, I see a lot of great things coming out of them since I came here. The seniors this year graduating, I coached them when they were Seahawks, and I've seen great things throughout the years. So it's just one of those, cultures that we're instilling now that it's just going to go higher and higher. That's, I guess, why we call it the Space Coast, right?
That's it, man. Taking off. Well, thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Good job.
All right, y'all have a good day. I got
you got stuff to do?
He's always busy.
Yeah, well, there you go.
It never ends, but y'all have a good day. Thank you.
All righty. Take care, man. All right, well, Coach, just want to get a little bit of introduction.
Space, man. We're big guys.
Yeah, I know. Taking up the whole thing. We got our
rubbing elbows with the big man over
That's
here.
it. Yeah. 2 linemen trying to take up one screen. That's not
good,
easy.
not good.
But if I could just, kind of ask you some questions about, how it is that you got here. Because, when I first started working with the Seahawks, you weren't here, and then all of a sudden here you show up. So how did you make it to Satellite? Tell me about your journey through not just, but your journey coaching wise. How did you end up here?
Before I go into that, I just want to say thanks for coming this week. And
yeah, man.
John and I have developed a pretty special relationship, not just as colleagues and professional on the professional side, but personally too as friends, and just the bond that we've built between the two organizations is extremely healthy, and definitely headed in the right direction. So I'm just excited that he's here with us today, and I just really want you to know that again, we thank you for everything that you do for us too. So just my real quick short history, I just from the coaching side, I played my college ball at Army, and I afterwards you got to serve in the military. So I served in Germany for 5 years. When I was over there, I started coaching in the semi-pro leagues and the German football league, teaching Germans how to play American football. Sometimes in the German language too. I had to learn pretty quick, but so I kind of got my start early on, and have continued from there. When I got back, I wanted to coach high school ball. Got interlinked with some coaches here and networked pretty well with them here in the county, and ended up finding just a blessing here to be at Satellite. So I can remember sitting in my sophomore year. I actually sat behind my wife in math class when I was a sophomore in high school, and I remember telling her that I wanted to be a coach. And it took me 13 years to eventually get there, but and sometimes when you have a path in life that it'll take you a long time to get there, but I definitely feel that I finally reached my end goal. So and now it's just kind of continuing to build off of that and get better from year to year.
Good deal. So you brought up your family. Could you maybe tell some of the people here, because we're running 2 videos. We're running a YouTube that's going to go out through Coach's weekly show, but then we're also Facebook Live for our Seahawk family so that they can get to know who Coach is. But you mentioned your wife. Tell us just a little bit about the family.
Yeah, been with my wife, high school sweetheart. Been with her for since 2001, and we got married in 2008, right a couple days after graduation from West Point. And now we had 2 children in Germany. Had my son in 2010, Graham. He's 7 years old, and my daughter in 2012, Campbell. She's 5. She'll be 6 here in July. So, I will tell you, they love it here, and they have found a home. Graham's a part of the Seahawks, and so is my daughter. So we feel a special personal connection, family connection to the Seahawks too. So, when mama's happy and the kids are happy, that's about 99% of the battle. So, there's no issues here, and we're definitely happy and blessed to be a part of this whole community.
Well, talking about family, the Seahawks are a group of kids and adults and everybody involved in the whole process, and we thought it'd be kind of neat to have some of our Seahawks come and ask some questions. So I reached out to our Seahawk family, and I was looking for the future Howard Cosell out there, for those of you that have been around for a little while. Looking for our next sportscaster that's going to come out of the Seahawks. And our first kid that's going to come up here is a young man, Alan Steffen. Come on up, Alan. He
have to move over.
So Alan's been playing flag football for the Seahawks. How old were you when you started playing? 5? 4. Yeah, he's been playing since he was 4. Transitioned out of flag into tackle when he turned 7. I've had the pleasure of coaching Alan. I've had the pleasure of being on the sidelines, watching this kid grow and get better, and it's just amazing to watch. And we're very proud of you. Coach and I are very proud of you. And so what we did is we just asked some kids to come up with some questions, and Coach has no idea what he's fixing to get himself into, because out of the mouth of babes, you know what I mean. So, but Alan's got some things that he wanted to find out from Coach and some questions. So I'll open the floor up to you, man. You go right ahead.
Okay. My first question is, why did you decide to go independent this season?
All right. So why did we decide to go independent? So partly for us, it's about developing a community, a program that the community, that the alumni, that the players, that the staff, that everyone's proud of us. That's really kind of our main mission. And then on top of that, it's to develop, young leaders, uncommon leaders of character who are ready to change the world. That's our mission. So, when we look at, the health of the program, we felt just from a competitive standpoint that we would better be able to, when we can form our own schedule and, get the teams that we compete against. We're not asking to go into a game where we have necessarily an advantage. We just want a 50-50 chance. And, with going independent, we're able to achieve that mission. So, looking back after the first year, we won 8 games. And I tell you that the community's proud of us. The players have never been more excited about satellite football. And, I don't see any reason at this point to go back. So we're really excited about that move. It's different, but it's been extremely rewarding at the same time. So, good question.
My second question is, how's your coaching experience been?
My coaching experience, so it's been just so fulfilling and rewarding. I feel like I have the best job in the whole world. Not just in the sense of where I'm at, but just being able to see a young person get into our program on the first day and then progress throughout for all 4 years, and then watching them walk across the stage on graduation day. So I always judge my success at each year based on how many graduation party invites I get. So that to me says that I really made an impact, and that they want me a part of their family and their celebration time. So that it's really, for us, it's, the independent, did it help some wins and did it get us, a lot of good momentum going? Sure. But really it's about, are these guys ready to take the next step in life? And what I saw last year, especially with the seniors graduating, is that they are all ready to take that next step. So my experience, it's been a little bit of drinking from the fire hose. So it's been kind of crazy at times. But at the same time, it's been so fulfilling and rewarding. So, and plus I get to coach your brother too, right? So, and his brother Jaime is on our team. So he always makes it exciting, and he's an awesome part of what we're doing too.
Okay. My third question is, do you think the seniors will play a big role this season?
The question was, do you think the seniors will play a big role this year? Without senior leadership, I become a talking head pretty quickly. And, you really need those senior guys to come together and to lead the team. So what I've seen so far is that we're going to be okay. I think this senior group is pretty special, and they've been playing together for a long time. A lot of those guys are Seahawks alumni. So I'm excited to see where they take us this year, but it can't just come from me. It's a necessary thing that has to happen for the team. So I'm excited to see where this season goes.
My fourth question is, what is your favorite part about coaching Satellite?
What's my favorite part about coaching at Satellite? So I think my favorite part about coaching here is the people. I mean, the relationships that I've built and that we build between our team. We really truly care and love each other. I always feel like the team that loves and cares about each other more on Friday and Thursday night is going to end up winning. Because if you love and care about your buddy next to you, you're going to want to fight for him, right? So that's really been our main motivation. So that's my favorite thing, is just the people. This is really a community. When I first moved here, I didn't know if it would be like a touristy beach town, but it's not. It's a small town. You can't go to Publix without seeing 15 people, and that aspect of the community has been such an important piece for my success and for our team's success this year.
My next question is, How do you feel about this season?
How do I feel about this season? I'm excited, man. Football, there's football season and there's not football season. You know what I mean? It's like, and you're always when the football season's not happening, you're watching the clock. Like, when can we get back to football? So to get back into it, very exciting times. First year head coach last year, we won 8 games. So the expectations are high, and that's a good thing. You don't want the expectations low. So the expectations are high to continue to build on that foundation. So we're excited about this season, and I'm looking forward to not only continuing to be successful on and off the field, but we're also going to Alabama this year. So we're traveling outside the state. That'll be the first time a satellite team has left the state of Florida. So it's going to be cool to see how we compete against a team from another state like Alabama. So that'll be neat. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. You did a great
Good
job. Thank
Great
you, buddy.
questions, Al.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. So just moving on, we are in football season. What we're in is spring football season. For those of you that don't know what's going on over at Satellite, they're involved in their spring season. Want to talk about what were the goals that you set for yourself for the spring season? Coming back from a big season where you went 8-2, losing those seniors that you had that were, I'm sure, a big part of making a successful season like that. And now you're having to reload. So the springtime, I'm assuming, is a reload time. So when you sat down and looked at what you had on your table in front of you, what were some of the things that were involved in making those goals, and where are you at with them?
First, I told the guys at the banquet that when this senior class graduates, that they take all their accomplishments with them. This is a new year, new team. That's, I think, another favorite part about coaching high school football is every year's different. You don't necessarily get to recruit the offense you need or the defense you need. You just get what you get, and you really get to try to make magic out of it. And that's kind of what our task is every year. Right. So spring football, to me, is the most important time of the year. It's where we find out who we're going to be in the fall. And we have 4 goals, and that's every spring. It's never going to change. Our 4 goals in spring are to teach, evaluate the players, really start playing fast and physical, developing physically and mentally within our schemes and in our game, and then acculturate, especially for our newer guys, to help them figure out how we do things at Satellite. Because they're going to, we had 26 incoming 8th graders come into our program, which is the most we've had in at least 10 years, and teach them how we do it here, and they've just embraced it and have done such an awesome job. So new year, like I said, new challenge, but that's the exciting part about it, and that's always going to be our goals, is to just bring them into the program, teach them how we do things here, and then help them find a home, because we believe strongly in teaching them a position on both sides of the ball. We do that from our youngest player all the way up to our oldest player. They all know an offensive position and a defensive position, and we feel that's important so they get their proper development within the game and feel comfortable where they're at, and we can really find them home. What I would really hate to see is a kid go all the way through our program, and then in their senior year we go, wow, he can really catch. Like, we didn't know that. We should have found that out a long time ago. So, and that's not fair to the kid either. So we really feel strongly about that. And like Coach Tucker said, our coaching staff has just been doing an awesome job. This is the best coaching staff I've ever been a part of. This is the best coaching staff that I've ever witnessed in person. They are coaching their tails off. And you just stand at practice and just be silent and listen, and you just hear just wisdom and knowledge, and not just football skills, but life skills all over the field. And I'm excited to see that all come together, and then to be a good validation of what we put together.
So you're in the second week of spring practice. First week was helmets, Then last Saturday, a week ago yesterday, you went to the full pads, and that was the first contact practice.
Right.
How was week 2 with full pads? And I'm assuming that we ramped things up a little bit.
You saw it Saturday, pretty intense day.
Yep.
You can get fast. You can get physical in spring because guys have the summer to recover, and you really need to kind of figure out who's mentally and physically developed enough to be a junior varsity player or a varsity player, and just kind of like Coach Tucker talked about. So week 2's spring football, it's the most important time, but it's the hardest time of the year for players because you got 19 practices and like a spring game, and the spring game's never even really that much of a game. It's just kind of getting out there, seeing your different systems in action. So it's 19 practices. I mean, if you're in the fall, before a game, you get 4 practices and then a game. So there's always that thing to look forward to at the end of the week. But in spring, it's like 19 straight in a row. And so you really find out, number one, what your team's going to be like. And number two, you find out who your toughest guys are who really love ball. Because to show up for 19 practices and not really playing a game yet, you really got to love it. And you've played it. We all know practice is tough, man. Practice is tough. There were times where I was like, oh, boy, we got to go to practice. But it's a necessary part of the game. Right. Whereas like sports like basketball, baseball, they practice, but there's a lot of games and not as much practice. Whereas football, it's like all practice and very little games. You know what I mean? So it is different. And so that's kind of what we focus on for the spring. And what I saw in week 2 is I really saw our toughest guys coming out because it's the second week. Their bodies are really getting used to contact again. So you really start to see guys that really love the game. And I'm excited about our team and what I saw in week 2. So we were able to we started this kind of Earn Your Stripe program.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the stripes program.
Right,
We were talking
so
earlier about it.
We changed our helmet look. It's white on white this year, but we have 3 stripes that are going to be the kind of the centerpiece of our helmet. And we felt that to recognize effort, leadership, and attitude, that we would give guys give certain guys, select guys, their stripes early. So, and that would just be a recognition for them of their hard work throughout the week. So we're doing it weekly. So we just finished our first week. We gave out 6 new stripes, and that was to 3 of our older guys, Alex Goodale, Jackson Lacey, and Trevor Fish. And then to 3 of our younger guys, Garrett Tantius, Ryan McWilliams, and Lane Darst. Those were so 6 guys got their stripes. So, and we wanted to. So some guys have them and some guys don't. So. And you can clearly see that it's visible, and it's just it's a neat thing that we're doing this year that I've never done before, but it's really generated a lot of guys coming out of the woodwork to lead, which is what you need in spring.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you mentioned the 2 things that you mentioned was it was effort, attitude, and leadership. Yeah. So if you look at the Seahawks, these kids are starting at age 4 with leadership, integrity, fortitude, and effort, and so. It's funny how that word works out with that LIFE acronym that we use, that the leadership and the effort are on the ends, but in the middle is the integrity aspect of it, that in order for these kids to get to that point, they've really got to build on that foundation. And it's nice to see that we've got that foundation that we're building at the youth level. And then these kids, 2 of the kids that you mentioned, Garrett and Ryan, are both Seahawks that played for us last year. And, I know those names. I never coached either one of those kids, but I know those names because I've been on the sidelines. I've watched those kids play, and I've seen those kids off the field as well, and the work that they put in at at developing their skills as a leader. So it's nice to see that this is carrying over. So as far as spring goes, it's we're coming to a crescendo. Yes, we have some stuff that's going to happen here pretty soon. So the inter-squad game. So tell us about when and where and what the plans are for the inter-squad game.
Yeah, we got a busy week coming up. We're gonna start our week 3. So just like I talked about with spring, you got to kind of break it up. There's got to be a carrot. There's got to be some motivation behind it. And 3 years ago we started this inter-squad game. It's we call it the red versus the white team. And what we do is I have my 2 team captains. They get to fantasy draft. So it's just like an NFL draft style thing, and they pick from the first player all the way to our 81st player, and they go all the way down. So they build the team, and what they do is so we're going to pick the teams tomorrow on Monday, and on Wednesday, since it's an early day, the kids are going to come in my classroom, and we're going to do like an NFL draft type deal. So I'm going to say, the first pick to Team Red goes to whoever it is, right? And they get to come up, and we have a jersey, and they take a picture and all that stuff. And the kids love it. It's a fun thing every year. It is one of the funnest events we do every year. And what it helps also is our 8th graders coming up. They're not allowed to play in the spring game, and that's FHSAA rules, but the inter squad is a practice, so they can participate, and it's exciting for them because they get to wear the jersey for the first time, get to play under the lights for the first time, and it's something they get to look forward to. Break spring up a little bit so they have kind of a game experience before the real game. So that's something we do every year. That's on Saturday. We do a tailgate beforehand at 5 o'clock, and everyone's invited to that. We would love to have as many people there as possible. The tailgate's in the Satellite Beach Methodist Church parking lot.
Right, so across the street from the stadium, there'll be food. There'll be
refreshments,
fun.
water, drinks, fun, games.
There'll be a lot of kids running around. There's usually a pickup basketball game that starts, a pickup football game. It gets pretty intense out there because prior to the game, we're feeding the football players, and then we've gotten a lot of participation from the youth program from the Seahawks out there. We'll talk about some things that we'd like to bring to the table as well from the Seahawks to try to join up with that event. But that's Saturday, May 12th. Tailgate party starts at 5. Kickoff is 7 p.m.
Correct.
So if that's Mother's Day weekend. So if you're in town, it's a great event. It's going to be a good time. And the game last year was a really good football game.
It was. It came down to a field goal at the end.
The kids had a great time. It was the stands were full. It was just a really awesome experience. But moving forward, you've got and that's going to be everybody playing. Now your Jamboree game that you mentioned, that's going to be on May 16th, which is the following Wednesday. That's going to be the game that only the kids that are 10th through 12th that are out there playing. So that game's going to be. Tell us about that game, where that's going to be happening.
Yeah, that one's next Wednesday, May 16th. It's going to be at Merritt Island High School. It's a Jamboree, so we'll play 2 quarters against Merritt Island, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll play 2 quarters against Heritage from Palm Bay. So it'll be a good little, 2 great programs, 2 great coaching staff, and always good to kind of validate what we did this spring, and to see our kids in game situations and to put them in those situations to see how they react. So looking forward to it. It's going to be another kind of awesome event. Merritt Island's kind of like a brand new field, and it's just really nice.
AstroTurf field, right? So
really nice place to play. So we're excited about that for sure.
Good deal. And then very important game coming up this week. Is that on Thursday?
Thursday
the 10th is the Powder Puff game. You don't want to miss this. They're going to be out there. The girls will be out there, and they're playing flag football with some borrowed flags from the Seahawks organization. I got the email this week that we're going to get them over some flags for them to play. But that'll be at 6 p.m. at the Satellite Stadium, 6 p.m. on the 10th. So come on out in the evening and support these kids. It's just about making their high school experience that much more rewarding and fun, and it would be really nice to have these kids come out and support it. And so for you people in Seahawks family, if you come out and support it, that'd be great, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So again, we wanted to incorporate some of our kids from the Seahawks, so we've got another piece of our interview going to be done by one of our kids. So Dylan Pulias, come on up, Dylan. Dylan's got some questions as we move forward. So Dylan Pulias has been playing with the Seahawks since you were 5, 6. Started out with the flag program, played on the Blue Hawks.
Yes.
Yep. Remember the Blue Hawks? He moved into the junior rookies when he turned 7, and been playing tackle football for us ever since. And great kid, leader on the team, motivator, always ready to play. Big Miami Dolphin fan. There he is.
Blessing and a curse.
But definitely Dylan's got some questions for you, Coach. So Dylan,
I'm ready.
go ahead.
Fire away, Dylan.
My first question is, do you think your team is going to have the same success after losing some seniors after last year?
Yeah, great question. Losing seniors every year, that's kind of it's a necessary evil. It happens every year, and this group of seniors was pretty special. Coach Tucker talked about them a little bit, but they were all, I think about 90% of them were Seahawks alumni. Yeah. They've been playing together since they were young, and all your friends, just like you got all your friends right now, growing up together. So, so they really had a bond that was hard to break, and it really drove us to a lot of success. So, I feel like we're going to do it all over again. I'm really excited about it, to be honest with you. every year I think we're going to be better than the last year, and I don't feel any different this year. So you got to reload, but that's kind of why we're here, right? That's why the coaching staff is here, and I think we're doing a good job already, again, prepared to reload from those guys leaving.
My next question is, do you feel like you have the players to fill those holes of the seniors from last year?
Yeah. So our biggest question marks were on offense, because we had our quarterback who's graduating. He actually is more than likely, so we're having a big signing day event on Wednesday. So we've already signed 2 of our guys to play college football. Our seniors leaving, Lewis Morris and Caden Larkin's going to Central Florida, and Lewis is playing at Tusculum in Tennessee. They all signed in February, but on Wednesday we're going to sign 5 more guys to college. One of those guys is Noah Mummy, who's our quarterback. He broke every single passing record that we have. He'll go down as one of the best quarterbacks at Satellite in all time. But he's deciding between Florida and Florida State to do track, but he's also going to play football. So I just got off the phone with the Florida Gators football coach, and they're going to give him a spot on the team. So he's excited about that. So we'll see where he picks. He's going to have the 2 hats on the table, and we'll see what hat he ends up putting on. But so that's a lot of offensive production he gave to us in the passing game and the running game. So it's some big shoes to fill, but we got John Hinkle in there, who's another Seahawks alumni, and he's been doing great. A little bit different skill set than Noah, but been doing awesome. So it's just on us as coaches to help prepare him and get him ready. But I'm excited about having John in that spot, because he's just a sophomore, so he'll be there for 3 years, and to have some consistency at the quarterback position is important for success. So you see most teams in the NFL, like the Dolphins, struggle because they don't have consistency at the quarterback, right? The Browns, I mean, just start thinking about teams that struggle, and it's a lot of times it's because you don't have a quarterback that's there consistently. So for us to have that locked in is exciting for us. So offensively, I had some question marks, but those have been solved for me over the first 2 weeks. So I'm excited to see those guys step in those spots.
Okay. My last question is, what is the best advice you would give to youth football players?
Youth football players, I would just say, I think the hardest thing when you transition from youth football to high school is just know that in high school, when you can get linked into an organization like the Seahawks, just be like a sponge. And I think when you can get around high school players and high school coaches, ask questions like that one. And I think this one, that's going to give you some growth and some insight, so you can continue to get better as a player, but as a person too. But when you're in an organization like the Seahawks, it's really hard. It's really hard to fail, because they really support you in the right direction and moving to Pop Warner, not just on the field but academically too. So I think continue to work hard in the classroom. That is my number one advice, because we say student athlete, but student first, right? Before athlete. So all the hard work on the field, all the trophies and all the fun, it doesn't matter if you can't take care of the grades in the classroom. So that's my number one advice. Take care of that first, and everything else will take care of itself.
Okay.
Great question.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dylan. I
buddy.
appreciate you
Yes, sir.
coming up and asking
You're the
questions
man.
for us, man.
Good job, buddy.
Looking forward to the season, so good job. So, what Dylan brought up is something that I'd like to kind of move into and ask some questions about. So, my son was involved, Jay was involved in your summer camp last year. We're excited to see how you're going to capitalize and build on last year's season, which was your first summer camp for the youth kids. As a parent, folks, I can tell you that if you're looking for a summer camp experience for your kid, I was absolutely amazed. I was impressed. I think the kids got to go to Satellite and be treated as if they were going to camp with not just the Satellite Scorpion, but almost like they were going to camp for the pros. It was well run. It was well organized. Coach did a fantastic job, and I think the kids got a lot out of it. So this year, what do you got going on? Because it sounds like you're going to do even better.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Last year, I mean, it was our first year doing something like that. We had done it in the past, but just a little different format and kind of a different mission. You know, I think in the past it was more about skills, and it's always going to be a little bit about that. But this past one, we even spent time in the classroom talking about adversity and leadership. And I think anytime you can start having those conversations, you know, with young people, regardless of their age, I think it's important, because that's just going to bleed on into the field and then in life, you know. So you're right. Our goal was to kind of give them experience of a Scorpion, so they get to be excited about what their future. If they end up, you know, being zoned and come to our school, and they get to experience that. So that for us is important. But at the same time, you know, we had so much fun last year. We decided that we want to do 2 of them this year, because we also had some parents who said, "Hey, I can't be in town in June, but I'd love to come in July," or whatever. But we only had 1 last year, so we have 2 this year. The first is June 18th to the 21st, and then the second is in July, the 16th to the 19th. It's Monday to Thursday, and it's 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And it's a lot of great work, and it's a lot of fun. But it also gives parents some flexibility that if they can't make one, they can come to the other, or they can come to both. You know, whichever one works out for the family the best.
Awesome. Kids 18 to 13.
8 to 13.
I'm sorry, 8
Yep,
to 13. And then what's the difference between the two? Because you've got one labeled as individual, and the other one is team flag. So
Yeah,
can you talk a little bit
I was
about
thinking,
the
you know,
difference?
if you're going to do both, you know, both camps are going to focus on individual skills to be successful in the game. They're both going to focus on leadership. They're both going to focus on the core principles of our program. But we also kind of thought it would be fun to, you know, one kind of primarily focus on the player, and then the next one kind of do like some more team fun competition, like tournament style. So add that in. I don't think really, to be honest with you, they're going to be much different, but you know, I feel like either one's going to work on individual, and then they're also going to have some team aspect to it. But I figured if you're going to do both, you know, you start with focus on the individual in June, and then build to more the team aspect in July.
But there's no concern of if a kid can't make the June, that they can go to the July.
Like I said, the core of the camp will stay the same.
They get a T-shirt.
T-shirt
comes with the ride.
That's correct.
And then you can register through the Satellite Beach Recreational Center's website online.
Yep.
You don't have to. Yep. You can physically go in if you'd like, or you can do it online on your computer and check it out there. But I think it's $100.
Yep.
Per kid for each camp. Yep. Yourself, some of your coaching staff.
Yeah.
A bunch of the players are out there. Yep. They basically work out of the out of your field house.
Yep.
So they get assigned a locker.
Yep.
They get assigned a team.
Yep.
There's rewards at the end of every day.
That's right.
And then also at the end of the week, and then at the end of the camp as well.
That's correct.
They're going to the pool again this year?
Doing the pool.
Okay, because that was I got to tell you, that was probably the funnest day.
I mean, it's not just a lot of fun, but man, it gets hot out there.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, an 8 to 13-year-old kid can only, you know, handle so much heat, including myself. I don't care how old you are. So you know, so the pool's a good break up to the week and to the day, so they can kind of cool off a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, the camp sounds like it's sounds like you're going to do better than what you did last year by expanding the dates, and then that way more people can get involved in it. And, you know, just from personal experience of being out there last year, I think you guys did a fantastic job as a parent, sort of on the sidelines, just kind of watching. If we could just kind of talk about the Seahawks a little bit, and about, you know, for those of you who don't know, you know, the Seahawks have decided to move over to Pop Warner. We've made that transition. We're now a part of the East Coast Conference of Pop Warner. That move has been a lot of unknowns with that move over to Pop Warner, and one of the big constants that we've had is we've had the support from you, the advice, the ear, the time we spent at the USA Football Convention, all these things that have gone into us being able to be successful in this transition. We really appreciate it. But just to kind of talk about Pop Warner a little bit, did you, when you were a kid, did you play Pop Warner? Or did you play youth football as a kid?
I was a youth football guy for sure. I kind of make fun of, I mean, I don't make fun, but I live through my son now, because, you know, us big guys, you know, I was always a blocker. You know, I never touched the football. You know, they said, Ted, you stand here and you block that guy, you know, but So my son, he's 7, and he's in the flag league, and he's got some moves I never had. So I get to live vicariously through him. But yeah, I was a youth football guy ever since I was 8.
Okay.
I played it, and absolutely necessary in my development as a player and as a young man. So I'm always look back on and smile at those years. Because not only for the experience, but just the coaches that I was around and the bonds that I made with my fellow players and the coaches that I got to really kind of be mentored by.
Yeah. Well, you'd mentioned that earlier. You were talking about when you came here to Satellite. One of the things that if you live in this area, I think you can say it's as close to Norman Rockwell as we could get. In this area, it's a nice little town. It's a nice little area. There's you like you mentioned Publix. You go into the grocery store, and I mean there's times that I've spent 2 hours in the grocery store because I run into I'm in the produce section. I run into this guy and this family, and it's to me it's just a blessing to be live in this kind of area and having that ability. When you're talking about Graham, he's playing in the flag program. That flag program development, that came from a conversation that Coach and I had prior. I think it was right after you became head coach, and we were talking back and forth, and I think it was embedded in an email conversation, and then it became even more. But we've decided to go ahead and take Coach's advice because what we talked about was, can we have a flag program for kids that are older than our typical 4 to 6 year olds in-house flag program that we've been running for years? Can we do something outside of what we're used to doing and what we're normally, doing? Can we think outside the box? Very much, I think, in line with the move from Satellite when they went independent.
Right.
It's like a big deal. It's a big move, and a lot of times when you make those big changes, a lot of good things, I think, come along with it.
Risky,
and so, we've opened up the flag program. Kids, I think, are having a lot of fun. We did it in the January and February format with the NFL flag, and then we're also going to do it. This fall program is going to be essentially the same thing. It's going to be a 6-week, 8-game schedule, co-ed, recreational, kids ages 4 to 17. They can come out and play. At the end of the season, we'll do a tournament, and that's when we'll keep score, and that's when it'll get intense. So it's nice for the parents because your stomach's not going to be in knots for 6 weeks. You can just sit there and watch your kids play, and everybody's having a good time. And then for that tournament, you can go ahead and get your stomach in knots because that's when it's going to get real serious for that one day. So it's all good. But just want to talk to you real quick about your resources and assistance to us with helping with coaches. So there's people out there that are watching us on our Facebook Live, and they're going to watch this that live in Satellite Beach. And you may have kids in the program, you may not have kids in the program, you may have some football experience and some football knowledge, or you may not. But you want to try to give back to the community. And what we've done is we work closely with Coach to bring, you talked about your culture, and you've talked about the way that things are at Satellite and the way that you run your offense and your defensive schemes and everything. Do you feel confident we can move some of those things into the youth program?
100%. I mean, Damon Pulias and I and John, we sat down and just said, there's so many people that want to help, and there's so many great coaches out there that just want to get a start somehow, whether it's coaching your own child or just you want to get involved. And a lot of times you just don't know how to go about it, and it's just the nature of starting something new for the first time. And I think you can feel like a lot of weight and pressure to not only perform and succeed on the field, but just to make sure that these kids are set up for success. And to have that continuity and that support from the organization and the high school it relieves a lot of that stress. And working with you and Damon, we feel it's so important, especially for these coaches, to feel like they have a support network, and our culture and our schemes can translate. So when these young boys that we just talked to, when they eventually move into high school, the transition's not as hard, that's a tough transition. But when the coaches, and you see me on the sidelines of your Seahawks games, and then you know your coach that coaches you speaks the same language and the same terminology and the same kind of culture. Man, you just feel very comfortable from the player's perspective, from a parent's perspective, and it's like, oh, we're moving up to satellite. Oh, Coach Kimmey, I know him. We know, and we know how the program's run. So the goal is to provide at the youth level an experience that is fun, that you want to come back next year, and it's developmental, not just on the field, but as a young person as well. So, and I tell you what. From the Seahawks perspective, I don't think there's a better organization run by two, that whole leadership, the board that you have and what you've provided to stay on the cutting edge of the changes in football, because, I'm a firm believer if you're not growing, you're dying. And, what the Seahawks have done, recently to make the changes and offer different, forms of football for families out there in the community is huge, and that just takes leadership who are willing to step outside the box, like you said, and take risks. So I'm excited for what we're doing for your coaches. I'm excited for the flag program. I'm excited for the move to Pop Warner. And I tell you what we saw in the winter, like I was saying, standing in the middle of my practice and just listening. And then like what we saw in the Winter Flag League, standing in the middle of that whole scene, you just saw a community. I mean, you saw people having fun, talking to each other, because it's not just the players on the field, but parents are talking to each other and forming relationships, and what happens on that field, drives the whole community. It's the heartbeat. So it was pretty neat to see.
It was kids, parents, dogs, donuts.
Everything.
It was
coffee,
everything.
Lots of coffee.
It was a good time out there.
Yeah.
Real quick, because I think my phone's starting to run out of juice, but real quick, if hopefully some parents are hanging in there with us. One of the reasons why we did the transition to Pop Warner is because we really want a safer situation for our kids. Okay, and we felt that the rules of Pop Warner, I think, are more aligned with the forward thinking that's going on within football. So as a coach, when you look at how you played as a youth player, and then in high school, and then in college, and you look at how we're coaching the kids at the high school level and the youth level today, could you just talk a little bit about how different it is now than it was then? Because how long, I don't want to put your age out there, but, so you're 32.
Right.
So if we go back 20 years ago, you're 12 years old, you're playing, playing youth football. That practice compared to your practice at the high school level today, how much different is it now?
Oh, it's completely. I'm a firm believer the game has never been safer to play. It's what we've done and progressed with the rules of the game to prevent blindside blocks and prevent receivers who are looking behind and not able to see. Well, the changes we've made in the kickoff. There's been so many progressive changes in the game to make it safer. The focus on certifying coaches in heads-up tackling. All of our coaches have to be certified at the high school level in heads-up tackling, concussion awareness, heat stress, and cardiac arrest. Now, and not just that, the equipment is so much safer. You talk about the helmet changes that have been made.
Yeah, we got
that's the old school.
So we
one
got
right
two
there.
helmets sitting right here. So this is a helmet that was on a high school kid's head, probably within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And then this is the helmet. It's hard to see the difference, looking online, but just in the shell, the thickness of the shell, the thickness of the padding inside, the development that's gone into putting this helmet on a kid's head is huge. And one of the things that we've done with the Seahawks is that we made a decision as a board, and some of you, when you register your kids, you go on there and you see that it's $200 a kid. One of the reasons why it's $200 a kid is this, is for every kid that plays football, tackle football, the helmet that's on their head has been recertified and reconditioned that year. We're required to do it every 2 years, but we've decided to do it every year because this is our thought, is that this is the most important thing that's going on our child, is out there on the field is their helmet and their head. And why would we wait 2 years to get the helmet reconditioned and recertified? Why wouldn't we do it every year? And I think that most of the programs that are out there recondition them every year. It's just the most appropriate thing to do. And then just the level of hitting that goes on. If you look at general practice, even on Saturday's practice last week, very exciting. It's going to be we're going to get out there and hit on that day. The percentage or the portion of practice that was actually the full-on hitting, uncontrolled hitting, that was still sort of controlled because you had it in such a small box, has changed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not hitting all practice long, all week long, every day, all day. We have cut down the amount of time that these kids are banging into each other for a reason. And it's to protect their bodies and to protect their heads and to, you know, you've got to teach them how to tackle. You've got to teach them how to block, but you do not have to have them be 10 yards apart from each other, running full bore each other, and that's how you teach. And I can tell you from a coaching perspective, even from when I started out, when my son was 6, so we're going back 3 or 4 years ago, the mentality's even changed in just that short period of time. That really the focus on football through USA Football and Heads Up Football and the things that we're trying to accomplish out there is light years different than the way it was, you know, just within the last 10 years. And you know, we're just trying to take this game that we all love so much, that is a dangerous, violent sport, and making it as safe as possible. And it doesn't have to be to where you can tackle somebody without, you know, trying to destroy them. And if you watch the pros on Sundays, you're going to see, I mean, you've seen over the last few years, guys are not, you know, out there headhunting each other. They're putting somebody down, they're making a tackle, they're making a play, but they don't have to have the highlight film, you know, go out there and end somebody's career because of one big hit. It's just, you know, it's just not smart, and it's not smart football. And I think that's what we're trying to accomplish is, you know, teaching these kids. But we appreciate the support. It was fun to watch the heads-up tackling that was being incorporated in the Seahawk practice that was out there, or the satellite Scorpion practice that we were able to go out and watch on that Saturday. What we saw, for those of you that are interested in football, is we saw the heads-up tackling run by some really amazing coaches that were doing a very effective job in teaching these kids how to tackle properly and how to tackle safely, to where you know, they get the mission accomplished, which is a tackle, without causing any undue injury to themselves or to another person out there, which is important. So just to kind of wrap up, Coach has got some information that he wants to share with you, but real quick, if you don't mind, I just want to throw out there, you know, our registration is open online at www.southbeachseahawks.com. Registration tab's right there at the top. We're going to have a registration fundraising night at Texas Roadhouse on May 8th, this coming Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m. So if you come up and have dinner, kids eat free, but if you bring the little token with you, we can give some out there that night. The proceeds from your dinner will go towards a fundraiser for the Seahawks. And then also we'll be there to answer some questions. I'll have the helmets out there. I'll have some coaches out there. We'll have some laptops out there so you can go ahead and register if you need any help with that. And then on May 26th, we're going to be out at Lowe's, which is the Saturday before Memorial Day. We're going to be out there. We're going to have Seahawk blown up out there, you know, taking pictures of our kids when they register. In-person registration event. A little bit of a fundraiser as well. Should be a really good time for everybody involved. So those are the two events that we have coming up, and Coach has something pretty cool. I'll hold it while you talk because I'm excited. I'm excited about this.
So we got 200 of these printed. This is our 4-year seniors. This is our schedule poster for this year. So we're gonna be giving these out to the community, to local businesses around the community. So be looking for this in local businesses. Try and get everybody a copy. You know, we made 200 of them, but those are our 4-year senior guys, and we're gonna recognize those guys every year when they you know, stay in the program and are a part of all the things that we're doing here. So be looking for that. We're gonna be giving those out, and we'll make sure that the Seahawks have a copy of that too. But
what do you guys think of that? That's cool.
It's pretty awesome, right? So that's my wife. My wife did that. She's pretty good with the whole Photoshop deal. So thank you to her. And I just really want to again just encourage you know, if you're interested in getting involved in youth football, you got to get a part of the movement that is happening here with the Seahawks. I think that, you know, we have a similar movement going on here with the high school program, but they are at the cutting edge of all the changes that are happening in football. And to me, like we talked about before, it's not necessarily, you know, is the game safer than it's ever been? Absolutely. But it's not just about the game being safe. It's about all the things that football can do for a young person in their life. And I'm sure we can sit here and talk about it. All the things that we've seen of people who maybe would have been in prison, but football saved their life. You know, and I'm one of those individuals. You know, I would have never been able to go to West Point and to get a great education and then live in Germany and do a ton of different things and meet my wife and have kids. You know, all of that started because I just played the game. I have a student athlete who's going to sign on Wednesday who more than likely would have been in prison, but he's going to sign a $26,000 a year scholarship to go play football, get his degree, and his life's going to be completely changed because of the game. And it all starts with getting involved in youth football. So you know, we're just excited for the future and where we're headed. Also, got to give a shout out to one of our, like I said, we'll have Eric Nix. He'll sign on Wednesday to Culver Stockton in Missouri, which is an NAIA program. Henry Covington, he'll sign to Bluffton in New York. Andrew Abendroth, he'll be signing with Tusculum in Tennessee. Joseph Schwartz will be signing with Tusculum in Tennessee, and then Noah Mummy will make his decision as to where he's going on Wednesday. And also got to give a shout out to our 2019 athlete. He's also a Seahawk alumni, Bo Cole. He was offered last week a scholarship to Army, to West Point, so to play football there. So a lot of great things going on. We've had 100. Well, we're planning on seeing 100 college coaches come through this spring to see our players in action and to you know, to hopefully find a good fit for them for college as well. So a lot of great things going on, and I think that's it, right?
One more kid. We forgot a kid,
Sorry.
Lewis Morris, going to Tusculum as well. Lewis, for some of the kids in this room, special place. You know, I texted him the other day when he had his competition for pole vaulting, congratulated him, and also let him know that, you know, that the kids that I told, you know, hey, Lewis, you know, Lewis got 4th in state, man, it's a big deal. You know, to see their faces light up, and to know that the relationship that he built with the youth program. You know, his dad was a coach. He played with the Seahawks all those years, and then he came back and helped us coach the last couple of years. And I got to tell you, you know, having a kid like Lewis out there, you know, I could tell a kid 100 times how to do something, and then Lewis comes up and he's just like, hey, buddy, just need to do this, do that. And next thing you know, the kid's doing it, and it's like, I've been trying to teach that kid how to do this all week. You show up one night and you knock it out. Just a great, you know, individual, and he's also going to Tusculum. Just didn't want to leave him out. And then one more thing about the Seahawks is we've got, in order to try to help out with that whole $200 a kid registration for tackle and tackle cheer, I've got a option in there where you can split that up into 2 payments, so you can break it up into 2 weeks for the month of May. So try to help out there. And that's it, man. So I really appreciate you having the show and inviting us to come out. And I had a great time. So
So go Seahawks, go Scorps, and we'll see you guys next week.